What if the person you tried to destroy had the power to erase you instead? Samuel Drake was a man who never heard the word no. His wealth and influence shaped the world around him. He was used to getting what he wanted, bending rules, and ensuring that the universe aligned in his favor. When he stepped onto the first-class cabin of Flight 382, he carried himself with the certainty of a king entering his throne room. The soft murmur of refined conversation, the clinking of crystal glasses, and the gentle hum of privilege filled the air, just the way he liked it. But then he saw her. She didn't belong here, not in his world. She was a black woman, elegantly dressed, but without the overt markers of wealth that he deemed necessary to be part of this elite space. Her presence unsettled him. He had spent his entire life ensuring that certain spaces remained exclusive, reserved for those who deserved them. And she, in his eyes, did not. His lip curled in disdain as he pressed the call button for the flight attendant. Within moments, a blonde woman in her early 30s approached, her professional smile firmly in place. "Is there a problem, Mr. Drake?" she asked, her tone smooth and attentive. He gestured at the woman beside him without sparing her a glance. "She's in the wrong seat." The flight attendant blinked, glancing at the woman. The passenger had yet to speak, but her gaze was steady, observing, waiting. "Sir, if I could just check." "No need," Samuel cut her off. "Just handle it. This is first class, not a charity event." His words carried the sharp edge of entitlement, the kind that discouraged argument. A few nearby passengers exchanged glances, but none spoke. They never did. The flight attendant hesitated for only a second before nodding. "I'll take care of it." Turning to the woman, she forced a polite smile. "Ma'am, may I see your boarding pass?" The woman remained still for a moment before reaching in her bag and pulling out a neatly folded ticket. She handed it over with a kind of deliberate calm that unsettled Samuel in ways he couldn't quite place. The flight attendant unfolded the ticket, her eyes flicking across the details. Her smile faltered. "This is correct," she murmured. Samuel scoffed. "That can't be right." "Sir, her seat is—" "Then it must have been upgraded by mistake," he snapped. "She clearly doesn't belong here." Finally, the woman spoke. Her voice was calm, steady. "And why is that, Mr. Drake?" There was no accusation in her tone, no visible emotion. Just a question, simple and direct. Samuel turned to her for the first time, his eyes narrowing. "Because I know people like you don't pay for seats like this." A flicker of something unreadable passed through her gaze. She didn't flinch, didn't react the way most would. Instead, she simply took back her ticket as the flight attendant handed it over, her expression giving nothing away. "Mr. Drake," the flight attendant said carefully, "her seat is confirmed. There's nothing to—" Samuel waved her off. "I don't care. Fix it." The attendant's uncertainty shifted into quiet obedience. She turned to the woman again. "Ma'am, I'm afraid we'll have to move you to another seat. We can offer a comfortable spot in business class." The woman exhaled slowly, her face composed. "I'm staying in my assigned seat." Samuel let out a humorless laugh. "Oh, please, don't make this difficult. You think you can argue your way into staying here? You're lucky we're not calling security." A ripple of quiet murmurs spread through the cabin. A few passengers were recording the interaction. Samuel noticed a man in row 3 discreetly holding up his phone. He sneered. "Go ahead, film it. Won't change a damn thing." But the woman wasn't looking at the phone. She was looking at him. And for the first time, there was something in her gaze, something sharp, calculated. "All right," she said softly, reaching in her pocket. "If that's how you want to play it." She pulled out her phone and sent a message. One word. "Proceed." Samuel didn't see the message. He didn't need to. The moment she put her phone away, she gave him a small, knowing smile. And that smile unsettled him. Samuel leaned back in his seat, adjusting the platinum cufflinks on his tailor shirt. "I don't see why this is a discussion," he scoffed. "Do I need to remind you who I am?" The flight attendant hesitated. Samuel Drake wasn't just any passenger. He was a powerful CEO, a man whose name carried weight in business circles. But despite the pressure, She glanced at the woman's ticket again, biting her lip. "Sir," she said finally, "she has a valid first-class ticket." "I can't." Samuel's laugh was short and dismissive. "You can. Of course you can. I know how these things work. You pulled some strings, got a last-minute upgrade. That's the only explanation." The woman exhaled through her nose, tilting her head lightly as though observing an experiment unfold. "You assume a lot, Mr. Drake." He gave her a slow, indulgent smile, the kind reserved for people he didn't consider worth his time. "And I'm usually right." A second flight attendant approached, a young man with sharp features and a name tag that read Daniel. He assessed the tension in the air before speaking. "Is there an issue here?" Samuel gestured toward the woman. "She's in the wrong place." Daniel frowned. "I just checked the system. Her name is on the manifest." "She doesn't belong," Samuel interrupted, his voice dropping an octave. His words were deliberate. "And I'm sure you don't want to cause a scene, do you?" The young attendant shifted uncomfortably, glancing toward his superior. There was a silent conversation in the flick of their eyes, a question of whether it was worth arguing with a man like Samuel Drake. "I believe we can find a solution that satisfies everyone," Daniel finally said. "Miss, there's a seat available in business class. We'd be happy to accommodate you there." The woman's lips parted slightly, as if she were tasting the words before responding. Then she simply asked, "And why would I do that?" Samuel leaned in, his voice smooth as silk. "Because it's the best option available to you." There was no mistaking the implied message. Be grateful we're even offering you that. Silence stretched between them. The other passengers were no longer pretending not to listen. A woman across the aisle shifted uncomfortably, while a man in the row ahead tilted his phone slightly, still recording. The woman sighed, then retrieved her phone again. "Do you really want to go down this road, Mr. Drake?" Something about the way she said his name sent a flicker of unease through him. It wasn't fear. No, not that. But an unfamiliar feeling, like standing on the edge of something he didn't quite understand. And for the first time, Samuel Drake felt the ice beneath his feet begin to crack.